Good evening. My name is Dr. Leslie Van Romer. I have been a chiropractor in this community for 30 years, more than 30 years. Welcome. Tonight is the first part of Kiss Yo-Yo Diets and Fat Goodbye Forever. Tonight we're sort of going to talk about how we got this way in America in the first place and talk about those kinds of things. And next week we're going to talk about, it's part 2, it's going to be more practical. So hopefully by the end of the hour you can go home and tomorrow you can start on your own little plan as far as trying to eat better. And it is your little plan. It's not my little plan, or your husband's or spouse's or anybody else's. It's your little plan. So we want to go over the practical part too, so we can talk about the philosophy and why we got here in the first place tonight, and then we'll do the more practical next week. Have you ever noticed that there are pivotal moments in your life that put you exactly where you are right now? We're all here for different reasons, but I believe we're all here for a collective reason. And the collective reason is not for me to stand up here and impart information on you. The collective reason is to call forth the greatness in one another. The energy flows from me to you, and you to me, and me to you. So we're really here tonight for our individual reasons, and different circumstances in our life put us here right now. There are no accidents and no coincidences. We are all here for a reason. But the biggest reason that I can think of that we're here is because we really want to call forth the greatness in one another. Because if it weren't for you, I wouldn't be here. And if it weren't for me, you wouldn't be here. So we're all in this together. Isn't that exciting? And I love calling forth the greatness in other people, because I'm here tonight to tell you that you are all, every one of you, because you're in this room and because you're aware and you have an interest and you're open, I say to you tonight that you are beyond great. You are extraordinary. So if we can call forth and bring some of those things out in one another, can you imagine, if you left this room tonight, can you imagine if you could start changing your own life so that you are the best, very best person that you were created to be, and how that could, just by being who you are, how that could influence other people. Now that's exciting, and that's why we're here. So if you would allow me the graciousness to share a little story with you, I will share a pivotal moment in my life that put me here. This was not my plan. I'm happy as a chiropractor in Sequim, Washington. This was not my plan. But it just so happened that as a part of me, I love people and I love my work, and people happen to be my work, and chiropractic was a part of the health that I help people with. But in that, and over the years, I became more and more interested in trying to help people transition to the next level with what? With better choices and better habits and feeling better about themselves and transitioning to the next level in all kinds of different ways. The story goes like this. 12 o'clock noon, April 6th, 2006, Sequim, Washington, 12 o'clock noon. Bring! Telephone. Daughter, Nika, 24 years old. Mom, I stepped on the scale a couple days ago. I now weigh more than I've ever weighed in my life. Mom, I'm so ashamed. I'm so embarrassed, I didn't even want to tell my husband how much I weighed. Mom sets herself down, settles, and for once, just listens. Mom, I'm desperate, I don't know what to do. I watch what I eat. I cut my portions way back. I exercise an hour every day, and my weight keeps creeping up. Mom, I just don't get it. Mom just listens. Mom, I'm sick with a cold or flu every month. I'm tired. I'm 24 years old, I'm young. But I feel so old. And Mom, I feel so alone. Mom just listens. Her heart aching, the familiar ache that all moms feel for their children when their children's hearts ache. Mom, I am fat. I hate that. I hate my body. And I hate myself. Mom's heart shatters in 1,000 pieces. The tears slide silently down Mom's face. Mom waits for a cue from daughter. Mom, will you please help me lose weight? Whew. Before Mom steps over the threshold into the minefield, and if you're a mother, you know what I'm talking about, of mother, daughter, weight, and a delicate self-esteem, Mom does the unusual. She thinks before she speaks. She knows she can crush daughter with a word. Her mind is bombarded by thoughts. Boom, 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 boom. She thinks of all the people she's helped lose weight over the years. She's grateful that she's prepared for this moment, for this question from this daughter who has struggled with her weight all of her life. Mom's mind clears, and pop, in comes those bright pink polyester pants. The ones Mom scored for daughter Nika, 8 years old. Daughter Nika, look at this. Look at the pants I got for you. Does this sound familiar, moms? Mom, I hate those pants. But Nika, they're bright and they're pretty and they're pink. And they have an elastic waistband and they have a matching top that goes down to here. But Mom, I hate those pants. Why can't you get the pants that all my friends are wearing? Mom didn't have the heart to tell daughter Nika that those pants wouldn't fit her. Daughter was devastated. Mom was more devastated. 3 years go by, and Mom's brain simmers. Simmer, 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 simmer. Have you ever noticed how long it takes a brain to simmer sometimes? It has to do with the human process. It's about progress, not perfection. And the problem with most of us is we think we're God. We think we're supposed to be perfect. And as soon as we're not perfect, we give up and we think we're failures and we think we can't do something. It's about progress, not perfection. Mom's brain simmers for 3 years. Mom picks up the book. Not the first time for this book, but the first time that Mom got it. The book is called The McDougall Program, 12 Days to Dynamic Health. Mom looks in the mirror and sees herself. She looks beyond the hair and the makeup and the clothes and the busyness of her life and finally sees herself. What are you doing to your daughter? Your daughter's 11 years old and she's 20 pounds overweight. What are you doing to your daughter? What are you doing to yourself? When daughter suffers, you suffer more. Mom takes control of her kingdom and her 3 not-so-loyal teenage and pre-teenage subjects. She attacks the cupboard. Out goes the sugar and the salt and the package and the microwave popcorn and the salad dressings and the oil and all those foods that depleted, that did not feed her 3 not-so-loyal subjects. And next to the refrigerator, out goes the beef and the chicken and the pork and the turkey and the salad dressings and the oils and the butter and the margarine and the mayonnaise and the ice cream. And the last thing to go was cheese. Because Mom was addicted to cheese, so that was okay. The other things had to go. And then the cheese goes too. 3 not-so-loyal subjects rebel. Can you imagine? Mom, what are you doing? There's nothing to eat in this house. Mom, could we please have some pizza? Mom, please, with real cheese. Mom, you're so mean. Mom, you're so different. Why can't you be like all the other moms? Have you ever noticed that you've got to be different to make a difference. If you're in this room tonight, I know, I can see into the windows of your souls, and I know that every one of you is different. And be proud that you're different. It's lonely sometimes to be different, isn't it? It feels alone and lonely and sad sometimes, but you've got to be different to make a difference. So be proud that you're different than the way other people think. Otherwise, we'd have 500 people in this little tiny room. Daughter Nika, in 6 weeks, stepped into those pants that all her girlfriends were wearing. Daughter Nika lost 20 pounds. Daughter Nika was happy. Daughter Nika lost 20 pounds, but daughter Nika did not lose her struggle with food, weight, and a delicate self-esteem. For some reason, that goes on forever and ever and ever. It's etched into her brain. It took 13 more years for daughter Nika to have the confidence and maturity and the security to open the door and invite mom in. More importantly, it took mom 13 years to have the maturity and the security to accept that invitation without judgment, without expectation, and without criticism. The time was right. 2 questions, Nika. Number 1, are you really ready to lose weight? Because it's not about losing weight, is it? It's not about losing weight. It's about shifting your thinking. And as you shift your thinking, what happens? Then you shift your choices. And as you shift your choices, then you shift your habits. It's not about fitting into a little box and eating a certain way, like someone tells you to eat because you can lose so much weight. It's not about that, because you know what happens? You want to get out of the box. Interesting, isn't it? As soon as you put in the box, this little kid brat rears up its ugly little head and says, I'm not staying in that box. I'm an adult. I'm not staying there. I'm not staying there forever anyway. Mom, I'm ready. I'm ready. I know I have to think I know I have to think differently about food, and I'm ready. This time I'm really ready. I'm tired of how I look. Daughter Nika. Second question, why do you want to lose weight? Mom, I'm not doing this for you. I'm not doing this for my husband. I'm not doing it for anybody else. I'm doing it for myself. I just want to feel good about myself. Okay, daughter Nika, let's go. If you listen with an open mind, if you tell me everything that you eat and are honest with me, and you follow through with what we together plan for you, I promise you that in 1 month, you will lose noticeable weight. I promise you in 1 year that you will reach a reasonable weight goal. And this mom doesn't make promises to her kids unless she thinks she can keep them. So there we go. For the next hour, mother, daughter, mother, daughter, mother, daughter, mother, daughter, mother, daughter. In 60 minutes, something magical happened. What could happen in 60 minutes? Daughter transformed from a hopeless, helpless 24-year-old girl to a confident, lovely, beautiful, intelligent young woman who knew she could conquer the world. Same people, same person. What could have happened in 60 minutes? How can we make a shift like that in 60 minutes' time? 3 things. Number 1, you have to have a simple plan. You have to have a simple plan. It can't be complicated. As soon as something complicated happens, what happens? We go into overdrive and overwhelm, and then what do? We give up because it's too complicated, and we just go back to the way we've been eating for all of our lives, which is a part of the problem why 80% of America is overweight. So number 2, after you get a simple plan, what happens? You get hope. You get out of the black hole. You're not alone anymore. You have hope. You have hope that you can have a body that you can be proud of. You can have the self-esteem that you deserve to have. You can feel really good about yourself. Number 3, she had support and accountability. Big mama, support and accountability. But there was something that held those 3 things together, and what was that? Daughter Nika really wanted to do it. You've got to really want it. And sometimes we think we want it and we start. and then we get off. Has anybody ever done that? And then you think you want it, and then you start, and then you get off. And then you think you want it, and then you start, and then you get off again. What is that? Is that being a failure? Is that being having no discipline? Is that being lazy? Is that being stupid? Is that being silly? What is that all about? It's about being human. If you are a mere mortal on this planet, anybody from another planet? If you're a mere mortal on this planet, it's about the human process. And it takes time because we are conditioned from the time we are infants. As soon as we come home from the hospital, we are conditioned into those certain foods, and it's tough to break through it. So you have to be patient with yourself. I mean, really patient. It doesn't take a week or a month or a year. It takes years. And you're going to get off and get on and get off and get on and get off and get on. So just get the basics. Get a simple plan. If you get a simple plan, you have something to go back to. You see? If you get off, and then you have hope. And then if you realize, if you look at the people around you, this is what? This is support and accountability right here. Because we're human beings, we're not meant to live like hermits. We need support and we need accountability. And I know that you think you're tough enough to do it by yourself. Because I think the same way. I'm no different. We're all the same. We cannot do something as tough as learning how to eat better, to transition to the next level in our health and ideal weight. We cannot do that by ourselves. One way or the other, we need help. Because those conditioned foods are grooved into our brains, and they're grooved into our brains all of our lives. They do not go away. I cannot tell you the last time I had chicken gravy and mashed potatoes. But on Sunday, when I'm walking, and I walk past a house that's making those kinds of foods, do you think I say, oh, that doesn't smell good? No. I feel like going, oh. And I just want to walk in the door and sit down and say, please serve me. I want that. I mean, do you think that changes? It doesn't change. So you just deal with it. So you have a simple plan that you can always go back to. So that's what happened in the hour. So 3 weeks later, after that telephone conversation, Dr. Leslie telephone called daughter Nika. Nika, how are you? Mom, I know you're really busy. I know you have patients, but I really have to interrupt. I just stepped off the scale, and guess what? It's been 3 weeks, and I've lost 15 pounds. Nika, how'd you do that? Well, Mom, I just did what the plan is. I just did what we planned for me. You know, like they always do what you tell them to do. That's how she acted. So I said, Nika, isn't that great? What are you doing? She said, Mom, I'm just eating more fruits and vegetables. Isn't that what we talked about? Oh, yes, that's what we talked about. Is that what you're doing? Yes, that's what I'm doing. I'm not perfect, Mom, but you told me that I didn't have to be perfect. And look at this. I'm not being perfect, and I lost 15 pounds. I go, Nika, that's being perfect enough. Isn't that amazing? Nika, how do you feel? Mom, I've never felt better about myself in my life. After 3 weeks, the tears slide silently down Mom's face. 3 months later, Dr. Leslie, telephone call. Nika, how are you? Mom, I'm doing really well. I know you're really busy. I know you have patients, but I really need to talk to you right now. I just got off the scale, and it's been 3 months. I've lost 25 pounds. Nika, how'd you do that? Mom, I'm just working the plan. I love it. I love eating like this. I don't feel deprived. I'm not starved. I'm not hungry. I realize now that in order to lose weight, it's not about starving yourself. It's not about being sick. That's what I used to think, Mom. But now I realize it's really about what I'm eating. And if I eat correctly, then I fill up the way I should fill up. And once in a while, I have something else, and I'm okay with that. Nika, how do you feel? Mom, I feel better than I have in my whole life. But better than that, I'm helping other people. Because they're asking me what I've done. Daughter Nika, to the joy of Mom's heart, daughter Nika discovers what? That you've got to be different to make a difference. You've got to be different to make a difference. And when you're different, then you can start making a difference in other people's lives. What did Nika do? 3 things. 3 rules to the plan. And that's to be continued. We're going to talk about that next time. We'll talk about that next time because we're going to go into the whole practical part. And you can, I have it all over the places in the calendars. And 3 rules I'll just say are add, stop, and wiggle. Add, stop, and wiggle. And we'll talk about that more the next time. right now, I want to give you some statistics. These are some fat stats. After 25 years old, have you noticed that you gained a pound of fat every year? Think about how much weight we've gained over the years. That's kind of average, and people tell me that. After 25 years old, in the United States, on an average, the average American gains 1 pound every year, and they lose a half a pound of muscle. Scary, isn't it? That means you're actually gaining a pound and a half. If you think about it, you're gaining a pound and a half. So 61 to 85% of Americans are overweight, according to life insurance companies. 30% of us, it's now 33%. This was done 3 years ago. 33% of us are obese. That means that we're 30 pounds overweight. Did you know that if you are 30 pounds overweight, you are decreasing your lifespan by 7 years? Do we like life? Do we love life? Do we like our children? Do we like our spouses? Do we want to be around for them? If we're 30 pounds overweight, right here, you're decreasing your life by 7 years. If you're 10 to 30 pounds overweight, you're decreasing your life by at least 3 years, depending on where you range in that scale. Do you know how many people turn to me when people come into my office and they turn to me when someone is overweight, and they'll turn to me and say, you know, I feel really sorry for that person because that person's overweight. You know, I try to be polite, so I just kind of go with the flow, but I feel like looking at them and saying, you are no one to talk. You were 10 pounds overweight, or you were 25 pounds overweight, or you were 20 pounds overweight. You are no one to talk. We have to be careful when we judge other people, don't we? We need to really just look at ourselves. And by the way, you know, sometimes you can see layers on the outside. You cannot see layers on the inside. We all have those layers on the inside. So our place is not to judge somebody else. Anyway. 30% of our kids are not obese, but they're overweight. This is a misprint. So 30% of our kids are overweight. This is the harshest statistic of all. The harshest statistic of all is this. If a child is 30 pounds overweight, by the time that child reaches 20 years old, that child's life expectancy at this point in time is 20 years less than what it should be. Do you know what that means? That means because of the way we feed our children individually and collectively in the United States, that means our children are going to die before us. You know, it sounds harsh, but we got to get connected into some of these facts, and maybe it'll help motivate us to change. It's not good enough to just feel good about yourself, but you know, sometimes if you talk about your children, it becomes way more important, doesn't it? There are 400,000 deaths directly related to being overweight, and it causes all kinds of diseases. We know that. Heart disease, stroke, diabetes, cancers are related to that, arthritis. We think it's inconvenient to eat a certain way. We think it's harsh to eat fruits and vegetables. I say to you, chemotherapy is harsh. I say to you, getting a breast cut off is harsh. I say to you, getting radiated is harsh. I say to you, eating fruits and vegetables, you just can't do it. I don't buy it. I don't think we're connected enough to know that weight has something to do with how long we live our lives and the quality of our lives. I just don't think we get it. Somehow we're not connected in. So I want to try to help you connect in. I think we need to take a little break. But you can't go anywhere. I'm just going to take a break. And I'm just going to, does anybody have a light? A match? Does anybody have one? 50 years ago, this was completely, totally accepted. Was that not right? I won't even put this on my lips. I've never tried this ever. How am I doing? Don't tell anybody in Squim, please. It's going to get out there, I know. So anyway, 50 years ago, this was totally accepted. This room, everybody could have been smoking, easily smoking. I know that one of my dearest friends died because her mother smoked. I know it in my heart because of the secondhand smoke. 50 years ago, this was completely accepted, was it not? Does anybody want to share a cigarette? I have lots of them here. Anybody? It cost me $5 to buy this. And of course, I knew the person at the counter. That was very embarrassing. But does anybody want one? And what do you think of me if I started smoking this cigarette? Ugh! It would be freaky. Wouldn't it be freaky? I mean, watching anybody smoke a cigarette these days, isn't it freaky? Because we know what? This is deadly. This is a nail to your coffin. So when someone smokes a cigarette, you're like, you know, life is tough enough without making it tougher. This is a nail to your coffin. Anybody want one? You share it? Anybody dare tell me, Pat? Anybody dare tell me that they want it? Oh, no, no, no. Let's do this. Let's share. Like in kindergarten, let's all share. We'll all take this out and share this chocolate because chocolate's so good for us. Oh, no, but it's not this milk chocolate. It's dark chocolate. Oh, yeah, okay. Dark chocolate. Who believes that? Americans love to believe good things about bad food. Oh, here's dark chocolate. Have you ever read a label on this dark chocolate? Have you ever read how many calories is in this? You see, this is accepted, isn't it? Overeating in this country is accepted. Smoking cigarettes is no longer accepted. Why? Because it's a killer. Do you know that in this country, the people overweight now kills more people than cigarettes? Do you know that? Being overweight, I'll repeat, kills more people than smoking cigarettes. So the next time you're in a social situation, and you are eating because that's what everybody else is doing, remember, whether it's this, or whether it's white sugar, or white flour, or meat, or dairy, or whatever, remember, overeating is killing more people than cigarettes. But you know what? It's accepted. We are addicted more to food than we are to cigarettes or any of those other addictive things, yet it's under the radar. It's accepted. If you don't believe me, you go home tonight and start listening to the conversations people have. Oh, I went to this party and had this food, and I went to this restaurant. Oh, they gave me such wonderful food, and they fed me so much, and oh, I got so stuffed, and oh, it doesn't matter, a little bit won't kill me. Those are the kinds of conversations we have about food. And women, excuse me, men, I'm going to rail on women for once, and women were the worst for perpetuating it because their self-esteem is so wrapped up in this food, and we don't have the guts to stand up and say, you know what, this food is killing you. So maybe we should shift directions. Does that mean you have to be 100% perfect? No, but let's shift directions and become more aware and realize we are addicted. We're all addicts in this country. We are addicted to certain foods, and it's tough to make the shift. But the good news is, if the more and more aware you get, the more you realize that, okay, I'm addicted to this food, but what could I eat first before I'm tempted to eat this right here? And then people will say to me this, oh, here's a smoker. We scoff at the smoker. We would never accept that in a social situation. Smokers sort of skulk away now, don't they? They sort of don't do it in front of anybody now. They sort of are ashamed, I think, or something. And look at this. What about someone has a great burger? Ooh, I had a great burger at a great restaurant. Ooh, I had a great steak. Or, oh, I went to this French restaurant. And it was wonderful. And, oh, I had this white pasta and had sausage. And, oh, this pizza. See how we are? That's what we revolve around. Our lives revolve around that. Oh, but I only eat that in moderation. There's no such thing as moderation in the United States of America. Have you noticed? All we have to do is look around us. Have you noticed? There's no such thing as moderation. Oh, I only have a little bit of coffee. I only have a little bit of mocha. I only have a little bit of sausage. I only have a little bit of egg. I only have a little bit of ham and cheese sandwich. I only have a little bit of pizza. I only have a little bit of candy. I only have a little bit of cookies. I only have a little bit of meat and potatoes and gravy. I only have a little bit. A little bit can't hurt you, and a little bit can't kill you. A little bit, in fact, is killing us. A little bit is killing us. So we have to sort of get down and dirty about this. We kind of have to do what? Look in the mirror and see what you want to do for yourself. Now, if you are happy with the way you are, that's okay. That's okay. But don't pretend that you're not happy and then not try to do something about it. Just look in the mirror and say, where am I and where do I want to go? It has nothing to do with anybody else. No such thing as a moderation myth. And this is proof of it. 7% of our diet is fruits and vegetables. 7% of our diet is fruits and vegetables. Half of the vegetables are potato chips and French fries. And 42% meat and dairy. Meat and dairy doesn't have in it what fruits and vegetables have in it, I guarantee you. I guarantee you that it's nobody on the planet that said meat and dairy prevents cancer. I guarantee. And 51% of what we eat is what? Refined and processed. All you have to do is go home and look at your cupboards. We know this is true. You know, when kids were younger, they open up the refrigerator and say, Mom, there's nothing to eat. And the refrigerator's full of fruits and vegetables. Who conditioned them that way? I know my daughter Erin, who's right out there, had the privilege of working with the last few months. I asked, she was a creative writing major in college, and I asked her to read my manuscript for my book. And a couple different things. But when she got to the dairy part of the book, because I talk about dairy and how I was addicted to dairy, she says, Mom, so you're the reason why we're all addicted to cheese. And I go, that's right, exactly. I am the reason you're addicted to cheese, but you're an adult now, so, you know, get over it and start working with it. The other thing she said was, Mom, pus, P-U-S, you get me? The word? Pus, P-U-S, pus. You didn't tell me there was pus in dairy products. Would she have listened at the time anyway? You know, they don't care. But when you start really reading, and I'm such a proponent for reading and building up knowledge. That's what you're doing tonight. You're just building up knowledge. You're not going to know everything. You're not the expert, but you're building up knowledge. Why do you want to build up knowledge? I'm talking about knowledge and the facts, not things that we've been conditioned to believe since we were children. We've been conditioned to believe that we have to have meat for protein 3 times a day. That's what we were taught. So why would we think anything different? Where do elephants get their protein? To grow their great big muscles. You know what? If they can eat plant foods, so can we. So so you make a shift. Okay, meat's about what? A choice, not a necessity. But you build up your knowledge. We have to build up our knowledge. But let's go back to you. Are you tired? Are you tired? So you just kind of go back to basic questions and you say to yourself, am I tired? You look in the mirror and say, am I tired? And then you say to yourself, what are you tired of? So give me something. What are you tired of? Are you tired? Are you tired? Do you feel tired? Are you worn out? And what else? What are you tired of? Are you tired? You're tired of what? The rain. The rain. You're tired of the rain. I love the rain. It keeps our air clean and everything else clean and clear. And I love the rain instead of the snow. I appreciate the rain, not the snow. What are we tired of? What are we tired of? If you look in the mirror and you say to yourself, you know, I'm tired. What am I tired of? Are you tired of struggling with weight? Are you tired of struggling with food? Are you tired of just being tired? You're just tired and worn down. Are you tired of the drugs that you're taking? Are you tired of not knowing what to do? There's so many things we're tired of. Are you tired of diets? Are you tired of diets that don't work? You're tired of not knowing what to do. I mean, just think about, what are you tired of? Well, think about, are you tired? One of the biggest things I find that people are tired of this is that diets don't work. I like to have a diet hotline. And every time you decide to go on a diet, I want you to call me up and say, Dr. Leslie, I want to go on a diet. And I'm going to say, no, don't do it. Because what? Diets don't work. Why don't diets don't work? Why don't they work? They starve you. Have you ever noticed how they starve you? Yeah, they starve you. You cannot stay on a food plan that starves you forever. Because what happens? Your hunger drive takes over, and then you eat whatever's in sight, basically, not necessarily good things. So they starve you. They deprive you. They make you feel less than. They make you feel like a failure. They increase cravings. Diets don't work. You can't put a human being in a box and say, eat this. Have you ever seen has anybody been on a diet? And have you ever noticed how much food you get on a diet? You sort of can put it all in a little place just like this, because sometimes I do this for demonstration purposes. I mean, you count the grapes and you can have 17 grapes as a part of your lunch. 17. Not 18 and not 16. You can have 17 grapes. Who can live with 17 grapes for the rest of their lives and all the rest of the dogma and the rules that go along with that? We can't. So you know what we have to do? Oh, we have to start thinking differently about food. and realize that diets, the biggest thing that diets are proponents of is this myth, is that to lose weight, you must control your hunger drive. I hear that a lot. Oh, I have to lose weight, but in order to lose weight, I have to control my hunger drive. That's like saying you have to control your thirst drive, and you have to control your breathing drive. Hunger is an instinct. Hunger is an instinct that keeps us, what? Alive. So you know, when you're hungry, what does that mean? I mean hungry. I don't mean emotional attachment to food. That's another whole deal. But when you're hungry, what does that mean? That means you're hungry and you need to do what? Eat. So how about eating the food that gives you the most nutrition for the calorie buck? Eat the food that gives you the most nutrition for the calorie buck. I have that in the book and on my handouts and all that stuff. That's what we need to do. Eat the best food for you and eat it first. So this is a myth. We cannot control our hunger drive. If we're hungry, it's for one of two reasons. You're not getting enough calories or you're not getting enough nutrition. Either way, you still need to eat the foods that have the best nutrition in them. This is what diets do. Diets restrict the calories. They are nutrient deficient. You do not get enough nutrients in diets. Diets. They increase cravings. Anybody been on a protein diet where all you had was like meat and dairy, and not all, but a lot. Meat and dairy and pork rinds and bacon and sausage. Now, can we really believe that that's good for us? I don't care how much weight you lose. You know, chemotherapy isn't good for us necessarily, but you lose a lot of weight. Would you choose to do chemotherapy? No. So then why would we choose to eat those kinds of foods in a diet just to lose weight? You know what happens? Our cravings increase, and we get more cravings for carbohydrates. Of course, instead of eating unrefined plant foods with good carbohydrates, what do we gravitate towards? Refined carbohydrates. And we become like these eating monsters. That's the reason why, because we're not getting enough carbohydrates, getting too much of the animal protein. Okay, diets also, what happens is oftentimes your cholesterol and your fat intake, they increase. And your weight does what? Oh yeah, you lose weight. Anytime you restrict calories, you lose weight. Does that mean it's good for you? No, that doesn't mean it's good for you. What we need to do is eat the foods that do what? That give us the best nutrition for the calorie buck. So what are those foods? Fruits and vegetables. It's sort of simple, isn't it? I am not a brilliant person. If I have any brilliance at all, it's that I'm really simple. Because I don't get it if it becomes too overwhelming. So what I have to do is take all the information in, and then I sort of siphon it down and siphon it down and siphon it down and siphon it down. And then I ask myself really simple questions. And a really simple question to ask yourself is what? What are the foods that prevent cancer? Fruits and vegetables. Okay, I sort of got that. Then why was I trained to eat fruits and vegetables as the center of my meal? If those are the foods that prevent cancer and heart disease and stroke and diabetes and weight gain and all those things, why were we not taught in the United States of America to center our meals on those foods? And the other things are condiments, sort of extra. Why? Because their mothers taught us to eat like that. And their mothers taught them to eat like that. And their mothers taught them to eat like that. And it's a very cultural thing. It's not just a decade thing. It is a generational thing that's been going on for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years to center our meals around, if you have enough money. I mean, we're talking about hundreds of years ago. You have to have enough money to center your meals on what? Meat and all the rich foods and the dairy. Diets also have too much protein. They have too much animal protein. And if you start really reading, like T. Colin Campbell's book, The China Study, he explains in there, and he's a PhD in nutrition at Cornell University, he explains in there how animal protein may very well be the most toxic substance that we have in this country. Huge correlation between cancers and heart disease. Not just fat and cholesterol, but the animal protein. In order to lose weight, we need to do several different things. We need to shift our thinking. Remember, shift our thinking about food. And as we shift our thinking, then we shift our choices and our habits. But we need to eat calorie-low and nutrient-rich foods. So what's that mean? That means you're getting the most nutrition for your calorie buck. Getting your most nutrition for calorie buck. What are the foods that give you the most nutrition for your calorie buck? Fruits and vegetables. Eating vegetables is like eating air. I mean, you can have like 4 cups of lettuce, 4 cups of lettuce for, I think they're like 30 calories. Or you can have something like this that has 230 calories. You can't tell me that you believe this is better for you than fruits and vegetables. You cannot tell me that you think that this is good for you when you start reading the ingredients on the back of these. You cannot tell me that you can eat chocolate without sugar, oil, and salt and all the additives in it to make it taste good. You cannot tell me that. And not only that, you cannot tell me that God created something like chocolate. It made it so bitter that you can't eat it, and yet we as human beings think that it's supposed to be good for us? That doesn't make sense to me. What makes sense to me, that fruits and vegetables, they're different colors, different textures, different flavors. Those are all the foods that we were meant to eat as human beings, as a center of our lives. Not meat. I mean, it's okay, we can exist on that for a short time. So not meat and the dairy and the chips and the processed and the refined and the McDonald's burgers, not that. Also, concept, the fat you eat is the fat you wear. One of the things I explained in my book, I talk about 4 different questions that people ask me. The 4 different questions that people ask me. When you're starting to shift your eating, and I'm trying to help people eat more fruits and vegetables, what's the first question that might pop into your brain? Where do you get your protein? That's the most common question. Where do you get your protein? So if I sit on a plane and I'm doing my work and then they happen to see what I'm doing and someone says to me, right next to me, says, but where do you get your protein? You know what I do? I look them right in the eye and I say, do you really want to go there? Because I don't want to waste my time. Sometimes they say yes, but usually they say no. So I go, okay, good. We got that settled. I can go back to my work now. So where do you get your protein? Talk about that because it's an important thing to know. We don't know. We weren't trained to know. The next one, but don't carbs make me fat? Carbs don't make you fat. Fruits and vegetables are carbs. So if someone comes up to me and says, Dr. Leslie, I gave up carbs. Isn't that great? And I go, it's too bad because you're going to die. You're going to die young because fruits and vegetables are carbs. Oh, there's a difference between good carbs and bad carbs. And if you don't eat dairy, what? Where do you get your calcium? So you also talk about that. But also talk about the fat issue. But I thought olive oil was a good fat. I love to say this to the vegetarians out there. Olive oil is not good for you. Olive oil causes heart disease too. Olive oil is not good for you. So those kinds of things we just have to get in our head. But you just got to get the basics. And the basics are this. The fat you eat is the fat you wear. If you're eating a bunch of olive oil, you know what happens? It goes right into your fat. It doesn't matter if it's from an olive or a pig or a cow. It still goes right to your fat. Do we want that? I don't think so. So the fat you eat is the fat you wear. Carbs satisfy your hunger drive. Well, that means your hunger drive is satisfied by what? Fruits and vegetables. Fruits and vegetables. That satisfies your hunger drive. A lot of times after you have a great big Thanksgiving meal, you still sort of have cravings after you're stuffed. What does that mean? That means that sometimes we have cravings because we haven't eaten enough what? Really good food for us. And then what do? We eat carbs in the form of dessert. A sugary dessert, not usually a fruit or a vegetable. Carbs satisfy your hunger drive. So we need, in order to get our hunger drive satisfied and keep it satisfied, we need to have what? Fruits and vegetables. And then there's good carbs and bad carbs, which I just talked about. You mean you expect me to give up? Whoa, where'd it go? You expect me to give up burgers and pizza? Is that what I'm saying? No, I don't expect you to do anything. What I do expect is this, that you just start taking in the information and start thinking about yourself and start thinking about where you are and start thinking about where you want to go. And the bottom line is this, as we're transitioning to the next level, I'm here to tell you, you do not have to give up anything. You don't have to give up anything. You do have to retrain yourself and fill up on the best food for you first, which we'll talk about next time. You do have to fill up on the best food for you first, but you do not have to give up anything. Because you know what? As soon as you say, I'm going to give something up forever and ever and ever and ever and ever, what happens? And that's what you're going to get, because after a while you're going to say, I'm not going to give that up. I'm an adult. So you know what? You don't have to. It's not about giving up. It's not about deprivation. It's not about starving. It's about thinking correctly about food and say, you know what? I know I want that chocolate over there. Well, you don't want that because it's been there like a year. But well, come to think of it, it has preservatives in it, so it's probably still fine. And some people are so desperate for chocolate, they'll take it anyway. But anyway, on that, what you do is say, you know what? I know that I'm having this, whatever it is, for chocolate or coffee or cheese or bread or chips or popcorn. Have I hit them? Some of them yet? But you say to yourself this, I'm just going to fill up on the good stuff first. So think. So just think. And then you know what? 80% of the time, you'll do that. Now, you don't have to do 100% of the time. Just 80% of the time that you do that. And then you really start shifting your habits. And as you shift your habits, you know what happens? Something magical happens. Your weight goes down. And your health goes up. Your weight goes down, your health goes up. Medications you can get off of. A lot of them you can. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to think addition. So when you go home, I want you to start thinking addition. So when you get up tomorrow morning, just think about one thing. What do I get to eat today? What do I get to eat today? Isn't that exciting? It's not what am I going to have to give up. It's what am I going to have to eat today. When I start working with people with weight loss, trust me, I did not know these little tricks that I use right now, because that is a whole psychological shift, isn't it? I used to say, well, you can't eat this, you can't eat this, you can't eat this, you can't eat this, you can't eat this. You know what happened? Nothing. People didn't do it. I go, oh, well, that tactic didn't work. Let's try another one. So it's sort of by trial and error and over the time and years and the period that I've worked with people with weight and helping them with their nutrition and food and plans and all that. So the bottom line is, psychologically, our brain doesn't hang on to the negative. Our brain hangs on to the positive. So think about what you get to add to your day. So tomorrow you're going to think about what I get to add to my day, and you're not going to know because I'm not telling you tonight. Well, I did, but you're not going to know how to do that. We're going to talk about that next time. So you get to think about what you get to add. And these are the kinds of things that you get to add. You get to add vegetables and fruit, and you get to add whole grains. Whole grains are not bread. Bread is not a whole grain. I don't care what it looks like and who it came from and what you're doing. If you're making it at home and all that, bread is what? A fractured grain. It's not whole. But a whole grain is something like brown rice or whole oats. That's a whole grain. So whole beans, that means legumes, and raw nuts and seeds, but be careful, don't eat too many of those because a lot of times they're just high in calories. So be sensible about it. Do less than moderation. And then homemade juices. But this is sort of, as I always say, that's the advanced class. Don't worry about that. Let's just try to fill up more on the vegetables and the fruits. This is an exercise I'm really serious about. I want you to go home tonight. I want you to go home and do two things. I want you to look in the mirror. If you just do that, just look in the mirror. Remember, this is about you. This is not about anybody else. This is about pulling forth the greatness in you. This is about you being your extraordinary self. This is about you being real and honest with yourself. When you go home, look in the mirror. Look in the mirror and look at yourself. First of all, I want you to appreciate who you are. Do you know there's nobody that looks like you? There's no one that has a brain like you. There's no one that thinks like you. There's no one that has the same gifts that you have. There's no one that has the same purpose that you have. Do you know that you are unique and beautiful exactly how you are? Do you know that? And do you know that if your life is shortened because of the habits that you choose to have, that the planet is deprived of you? Because there's never, ever going to be another you, and nor was there ever one before. So therefore, don't deprive us of your beauty and your talents and your purpose and your gifts. We need you. We need you. So look in the mirror and appreciate the person that you are. It's so important. But not only that, I want you to look in the mirror and say, am I happy with how I look? Am I happy with how I feel? And be honest with yourself. So you either say, yes, I'm happy. I think that's a great thing. I don't care what you look like, if you're overweight or whatever, it doesn't matter. If you're happy with where you are, just accept that and know that you're happy where you are. If you're not happy, why are you not happy? And what can you do about it to make yourself happier with how you look and how you feel and what your purpose is? Are you doing what you want to do? Do you feel joy in the inside? Do you have a burning flame inside of you? Do you have a burning flame? Or are you tired? Are you too tired? Fruits and vegetables give you your energy, and the fruits and vegetables that you ate when? Yesterday. This is good students. The fruit and vegetables that you ate yesterday give you your energy today. Coffee is a drug. It gives you energy right now, but it's not food. That's not the sustainable energy. It picks you up and you go right back down again. It's the fruits and vegetables that you ate yesterday. If you don't have energy today, it's because you haven't been feeding yourself with the correct food for day after day and week after week and month after month and year after year. And then we wonder when we're 45 and 50 and 55 and 75 years old why we're tired. We think it's because we're old. People tell me even when they're 45 years old that they're old. They're not old. They're tired and their bodies are run down. The reason why their bodies are run down because of what we do to our bodies to run them down. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to go home and look in the mirror. And then I want you to say these things to yourself. If you have a pen, I would like you to write this down in paper. Write it down. Where are you now? Where are you now? Say to yourself, where am I now? Where do you want to be? Where do you want to be in a year and 5 years? Think about it. Get connected into that. Say, in 5 years, do I want to be able to have energy? In 5 years, do I want to be able to move? In 5 years, do I want to be disease-free? In 5 years, do I want to not be on any medications, which always have side effects? In 5 years, where do you want to be? This is a hard question. Where do you want to be? Do you want to be there for your grandchildren? Do you want to be there for your children? Do you want to be helping people in the schools? Whatever it may be, get down and dirty with it. Where do you want to be? What is keeping you from getting there? Do you know what's keeping you from getting there? One word. You. But figure out exactly what the blocks are. This is a hard process, and it is a process. But you start thinking about, well, you know, I really want to have more energy. And I really want to be able to help people in such and such a way. And I really want to be able to play with my grandchildren. I can't even get up off the floor. I can't even get on the floor and up off the floor with them. I really want to be around for my spouse. I really want to be here so I have energy to take care of my mom because my mom needs help right now. You know, if you think about your children and the people in your lives, think about that, then start thinking, well, what am I doing to myself? Why am I doing this? So think about what you could do differently in order to get to where you want to be. So what's keeping you from getting there? And 2 more questions. How do you feel about yourself? How do you feel about where you are right now? How do you feel about yourself? Number 2 is, how do you feel about staying where you are right now forever? And then the other question is this. How do you feel about getting worse? Because with age, if we don't do something, let me get out of the way. If we don't do something, what happens? We spiral down. I mean, aging is sort of tough on us anyway. So why add to the aging process? Let's build ourselves up as much as we can. We are the gerontologists, which are the old age specialists. You know what they tell us? They tell us the human body is supposed to be able to live for 100 years. 100 years. You know what people say to me? I'm doing a whole class on this later in the year. You know what people say to me? I don't want to live to be 100. Why don't we want to live to be 100? Because you look at the 100-year-olds around here, which are about as rare as a unicorn, but you see people that are 100 years old, and why? They're old and they're decrepit and they're disabled, and that's why we don't want to live that long. We're supposed to live well until we're 100 years old and be physically vibrant and alive and joyful and youthful and be able to think. That's incredible. Do we do that in the United States? No, but we can be exceptional to the rule. Because we are beyond great. We are exceptional. So those are the questions. After we're done, I'm wrapping up right now. I want you to stay put because we're doing drawings. And I'm going to give you out get the calendar, and I have homework for you to do because we're going to have the same thing next week. So let's keep it going. And I'll give you a little practical plan to bring home with you so you can just kind of get started. So, you did not come here tonight to be the expert. That is not your job. Your job tonight is way more important than that. You are the visionaries. You are the visionaries. And as a visionary, you can see the possibilities. As a visionary, you can see the possibility. You can see the possibilities for yourself, can't you? You can see the possibilities for your family. You can see the possibilities for your community. You can see the possibilities for your planet. So it's up to you to surround yourself with the people and the information and the experts and the support system around you so that you can transform those possibilities into realities. Go out there, gather the information, build up a foundation, be inspired, love yourself, look in the mirror and say, I know I can be better than this. I know I was born to be beyond great. I know that I am an extraordinary person. All you need to do is this. You just laser through the layers, one by one. You laser through the layers until you get to the core of who you are, so you can be your extraordinary, your bright, and your beautiful self. And by being yourself, that's how we really do what? We really impact and change and transform the people around us. So go out and shine your brilliance on the world and lead the way. Thank you.